a crybaby, bro. Be out there, cry. Cry like you have to. Yeah, right now, things are not working the way, help me out with some money. I would have I would have told you something, bro. I don't mind giving 20K, 30K, 40K, 50K. That's nothing to me. I bet you doing all of that shit on Wally Seka stage, and Wally Seka ain't give you a dime, bro. I believe Wally Seka ain't give you a dime. You ain't had one butut from Wally Seka. At least me, I could have given you $50,000. If you had contacted me, yeah, I would have helped you. I would have sought you out, man. Oh my goodness, how was your English teacher December 13th? Yo, but when Gambia for attended on the real, if you had came to me, yo, master to the list you could have had for me, 25K, I could have given it to you as a brother, like an artist. I would have helped you in that situation because it could be me too, like in that same situation. But you went out there on a foreigner stage and then you were begging, bro. And now you forgot that, and now you trying to be somebody who's against foreigners all of a sudden? Oh, man. You have yourself to be blamed for that. You really have yourself to be blamed for that because you can't blame me for that, So if he come to me, he said he needs help, I'm going to help him. But what I'm going to tell you is that xenophobia, we're not going to take that. Nah, bro. Tatala B, Tatala Soma, Tatala Sininding. So now back to the album. Now I'm done giving the nigga free clout. He needs to pay me for that. But now so we'll talk about that another day. I'll send you an invoice for that. Because I know you ain't got no money to pay me. I know you ain't got no money to pay me. But I'll send you an invoice. And then whenever you have the money, you can just you can hand me my money, like, you feel me? That's how we do it. So like I said, man, Gambia, we say no to xenophobia, say no to tribalism. We love each other. We speak one language, and that's Gambia. We speak one language, and that's African, black man. You see, I'm dark, I'm dark as this, what's it called, singlet I have on. Like, you see the way, the darkness of this singlet. That's how my skin is dark, and I'm proud of it. And my brother, I'll look at you and I'll tell you my brother and I love you. I look at my sister and I tell you that I love you. You my sister, you my family. This is what we know. Gambia telling na lonjang. Lilen fi ham. Yun hamun kom ki foreign ala kili. Nah, bro. We've been living together. We've been coexisting. We've been coexisting in peace, love, and harmony. We have coexisted this way, and we've never had a single problem. So we're not gonna let few parasites to come in between, telling us about I don't talk to this certain person because they're this, they're that. Like, if you're going to talk down on somebody, talk down on them. But don't go to the extreme, bro. Don't be an extremist. So relax. So this, right now, it's all about Sanjijal. I'm in album mode and you can tell I'm active. Energy is up the sky, the roof. So next week, Tuesday or Monday, I'm going to be dropping a snippet of the track number 2 on the album, inshallah. That's live. And in this song particularly talk about youths and our struggles. And when I said youths, I'm not just talking about the male side of it. I'm talking about the female side. Hey, Madam Bayo. Easy. I'm talking about the female side of it and the male. Because mbeleka yeg mbeleka yeg pain. So I'm going to be dropping a snippet of it. And then, from there, 2 days after that, the album is going to be out. And then, we all enjoy because, I believe you guys are going to love this album because everybody that has listened to this album, they all love it. And then we put in a lot of effort, because, somebody say your new song is lit. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Fatima Ma, man, I wish Alamum be in you for December 13, my Kaira Kono. So, December 13, y'all know, man, where we're going to be at, GCCI grounds. The energy, you can feel it. Hey, G Black, I see you. The energy, the vibration is already there. And shout outs to every Gambian artist there, pushing positivity, have a song out there already called One Gambia by ST Jizzle, I'm T-Berry, I'm Abu and Fafa, sorry, from Abu and Fafa. All of these guys, shout outs to all of them, shout outs to all of them. These guys are not pushing for xenophobia, They're not pushing for xenophobia because they know how destructive those stuffs could be. You know, they know how destructive those stuffs can be. But when you see a dumb that just smoked an expired weed that's expired, you know, they just come around talking some dumb shit that nobody can comprehend. You know, and we're not gonna do that. Somebody said you should do a video for Mr. Government, but I have a song on the album called Letter to the Government. That one we're gonna have a video for, and then we're gonna actually make up for Mr. Government with that one. You know, so baby, everybody said it's kush. Yeah, somebody said, is this your last show? Or never say never. Right now, I don't have any concrete comments on that. To be honest, if I tell you this is my final show, I'll be lying. Hey, Mr. Musa Sanyang is in the building. Shout outs to you, man. Shout outs to you. You know, so you know, somebody said he's here smoking weed. Expired weed is not good for a little man like that. You know, y'all need to tell him to calm down, man. Seek some help, like, you know, see a therapist. You know, see a therapist, sit down and let people help you. Then just be embarrassing yourself out there and all of that. Like, you know, don't be embarrassing yourself out there. You know, yo, that shit is diabolical. Like, you don't have to put out statements like that. Go and apologize. It's easy. Sorry has never killed anybody. You know, somebody said any collab with Mike. Well, we don't have any on the pipeline right now, but probably never, you can never tell. Tomorrow, you know, it can be like, you know, you can never tell. So next week, Friday, Sanjay Jalu is going to be out on every digital platform. Inshallah, it's going to be on Audio Max, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Shazam, Boomplay, all of this, SoundCloud is going to be on all of these DSPs. So like, I know you guys have been waiting and anticipating, you know, but like, you know, it's coming. You know, shout outs to every real Gambia there, you know, like that's keeping it 100%. Because why not Amazon Music? Well, I don't know, but it might probably be on Amazon Music. But like I said, the pre-save link is on my Instagram story right now. If you go to the Instagram story, you're gonna see it there, like the pre-save link, and then you could just pre-save it, and then like, you know, you wait for the album because it's gonna be out next week, inshallah. So today I'm just here for the promotion of the album. You know, if I said anything, yeah, I'm just talking to you guys. I'm not talking to anybody that's actually I'm preaching, you know, some destructive messages or trying to divide us or whatsoever. I'm not talking to them. But if I've said anything to anybody that's watching me live here, you know, that didn't sit well with you, I want to say I'm sorry about that, 100%. You know, I'm gonna say that to you people. But to anybody that's actually pushing out there xenophobia, tribalism, and all of that, I don't have 2 cents of sorries for people like that, because people like that, those are people that we need to tell the truth to. Those are people that need to come out correct. Those are people that need to change their ways. You know, somebody said, do you have a song, Stani collab with ST? Well, actually, on this particular album, I didn't have any big artists on the album that's not big banger when it comes to Gambia, because like, and then I had legends like Bilal, Killer Ace, Our Bling, you know, Kibla. These are people that, you know, I've met in the game. These are legends. They've been big in that. And when I say big, I mean like the current wave, like, you know, apart from big banger, you know, like we only dealing with like, you know, the younger generation, you know, because we want to try something new, you know, because y'all know every collab I had with ST is a banger out there. Every collab I had with it's a banger out there. You know, there's a people that, you know, have influenced the sound of Gambian music. They impacted it way to the next level. You know, there's a people that have performed at summer jams and all of that. So we're gonna look into the future. There might be collabos, they might be coming, like, you know, from me and them, like, you know. But then right now, what's more important is like, you know, the unity. You know, that's why I talked about the One Gambia song, you know, and then you can see the amazingness of it, all the artists that have been there just to show love, to show how united we are. You know, that's unity right there. You know, and somebody calling Uchee a foreigner and he's in a music called One Gambia. What kind of sense do you want to make from that? You know, that's why I didn't even talk about the xenophobic topic because of Uchee, because like Uchee is not a foreigner. He's a Gambian like us. But the reason why I spoke about it, because there are people that are gonna actually try to take this and use it against foreigners, which we're not gonna stand for. You know, I have a question, but I'm scared you will